Hi everyone and welcome back to Plainest Pages to another video in my Romanticism series. Today we're talking about Keats's poem To Sleep, more accurately a sonnet. We're going to start with a summary and then move on to the line-by-line analysis. In the sonnet written in 1819, Keats addresses personified sleep, begging to close his eyes and save him from save him from regret, and take him away into the peace and quiet and the calm of sleep and a lack of awareness, a lack of consciousness, in other words. Calm his soul to allow him peace. The poem suggests that the only way to get that peace and quiet is to fall asleep. Sleep can also be a darker metaphor for death, so in other words, he's begging for a respite from daily life. As is typical of a Shakespearean sonnet, the poem has 14 lines of 10 syllables each, although there are some modifications. For a start, the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, and the last 6 lines are rhymed B, C, E, F, E, F. So unlike a typical Shakespearean sonnet, there is no final couplet. There are no two rhymes. It's not F, F, but it's rather E, F. So there's no sort of unity. Does it perhaps suggest that sleep is not so, that sleep either comes and it throws away the lull of this, or does it suggest that sleep doesn't quite come for this insomniac speaker, and so unfortunately there is no peace? It's up to you to decide. There is also an indent in the even lines, which is interesting to look and consider at which points in the poem Keats introduces this. The octave mainly focuses on sleep as a soother, whereas after the volta and the last few lines it takes on a darker conscience, and it's you sort of start to realize why he's seeking sleep, and maybe he is actually seeking burial and death, and there is just in general a darker shift and a darker tone. Without much further ado, let's dive straight into the line-by-line analysis. O soft embalmer of the still midnight, shutting, with careful fingers and benign, our gloom-pleased eyes, embowered from the light, and shaded in forgetfulness divine. Although sleep is not mentioned other than in the title, straight away there is an apostrophe. Although sleep is not quite here yet, it is being addressed. Rather, it is an invocation. Oh, soft embalmer. Straight away, you know that the poem is titled To Sleep, but it's not yet mentioned. It's referred to in many of the other names, and many charitable names, because the speaker aims to kind of lull sleep into coming towards him, to praise sleep so much that sleep comes and takes mercy. The exclamatory O, it praises sleep, while the S in shutting, still, soft. So there's softer sibilant sounds, so it highlights that there's sort of like a shushing sound. So he's shushing everyone and he's saying, please, quiet, please, so that kind, merciful sleep can come in and get me out of my misery. Embalmer suggests, again, well, first of all, it's from the lexical field of death. Embalming is what happens when we want to preserve the body from decay, but rather here, embalmer of the still midnight. So the still, the quiet, the silent, midnight, the night, death, darkness. So embalmer, please keep me embalmed, please keep me preserved in this eternal state of calm and quiet and darkness. Is he wishing for death or is he wishing for sleep? It's all towing the lines, it's all on the border of the two. It's very liminal, much like the line between consciousness and unconsciousness and waking and falling asleep. Shutting with careful fingers and benign. Notice how it's shutting, it's ing, so it's sort of a continuous process, and in general the poem has a very big flow to it, because it sort of suggests that there's one big moving state. So similar to the way we move through sleep and waking and life and death, it's all one long state from beginning to end. It's the state that he wishes to invoke. So shutting with careful fingers and benign. Sleep, he wishes that sleep would come in with its gentleness and just gently close his eyes. It's benign, it's kind of sleep to do so. Embowered and shaded. So there's a similar idea here to build on hiding from light. So embowered from the light, within the bower, so within the sort of arms, within the protection from the light of sleep in the dark, and shaded in forgetfulness divine. So not only is he shaded because it's dark, but he's also shaded because it's forgetfulness. It's divine forgetfulness. It's heavenly. It's a blessing from heaven to be able to take this respite. It's a blessing from heaven to have this moment of peace from worldly troubles and then wake up again. This creates a lull in the poem, which makes sense given that it's about going to sleep. O soothest sleep, if so it please thee, close in midst of this thine hymn my willing eyes, or wait the amen ere thy poppy throws around my bed its lulling charities. Again, we have a repetition of O, a dramatic refrain, also very romantic in its nature. Soothest is also a very Keatsian expression. It's kind of exclamation, exaggeration, admiration of gentleness. Keats was a big fan of kind of making words like this, making superlatives rather. Soothest, oh the calmest, oh the most quietest, oh the most benign of sleep. Sleep is addressed finally. Notice how we ended the previous stanza with a colon. saying that who is this? Who is this divine embalmer of the still midnight? And then, oh, soother, sleep. Oh, of course it is the quietest. Of course it is the calmest sleep that is this merciful, benign being that shuts our eyes. There's this continuous flow, so it's this uninterrupted idea, maybe in the hope that the speaker will get an uninterrupted night of sleep. So without nightmares, without waking, just total utter silence and a loss of consciousness. If you would like to, if you would be so kind to, if so it please thee, close in the middle of this hymn. So again, it's just a godly worship, it's a hymn. He's addressing sleep. Sleep is the ultimate god because there's nothing more divine, there's nothing so kind as having a good night's sleep for the poor speaker who clearly suffers from deep insomnia. And here he says, I want my eyes to close, I want to fall asleep, my willing eyes. My eyes are willing. All you need to do is come in and take me and I will happily go with you. Or you can wait the amen when the poppy begins to work its lulling charities. Poppy was a famous opioid, a very popular one. So rather when the poppy takes mercy on me, when I have medicinal intervention, then amen, you can hopefully come in, and if you don't come without this medicine, you can come in when I take it. So it suggests that the speaker is sort of someone who has these problems with sleep regularly. Indeed, you will see that it is a continuous process, possibly because every night he has to invoke this address to sleep and hope for the best and hope for mercy. Charities, again, so everybody's sort of doing him a favor by coming in and helping him get to sleep. Then save me, or the past day will shine upon my pillow, breeding many woes. Save me from curious conscience that still lords its strength for darkness, burrowing like a mole. Turn the key deftly in the oiled wards, and seal the hushed casket of my soul. Now we experience Devosa, or rather in Shakespearean sonnets, the moment when the question is answered. And of course, there is one question that has been implied but not directly stated. Why is the speaker so eager to fall asleep? Yes, clearly he's an insomniac, and of course everybody wants sleep, but why? Why particularly now? Why particularly sleep? And we get the answer. It's obvious here that he wants to be saved, that he's running away from curious conscience. The past day will shine upon the pillow if you don't save me. Save me, or the past day will shine. So notice how it's curious. The past day, so we have the past, so it's just yesterday, but will shine, that's in the future. So it's at once in the past and in the future. It's at once something that has gone and something that will come. And what is it? It's woes. So sad, sorrow. The day breeds woes. It bred them yesterday, it will breed them. So it's sort of a continuous process. No matter what day it is, he will find himself regretting. He will find himself woeing. He will find himself upset. And save me from curious conscience. Curious conscience, you can consider it a hendiadys, depending on how you interpret conscience. So hendiadys is kind of like a literary device where you take two words and you sort of express them through one. But here it's interesting to consider what conscience means. I think here it likely means awareness, because Hamlet spoke of conscience breeding cowards of us all, right? If you watch my series on Hamlet, conscience is sort of awareness and just living life. So when you live life aware, the idea in Hamlet was when you live life knowing all the dangers, when you're no longer in innocence is bliss as a state, that's when you become a coward. That's when you become scared to act because you know of all the risks. And here I think it's the same idea. So curious conscience, and conscience especially with capital letter, it's also personified. This awareness, maybe this knowledge, this also regret, because conscience lords its strength for darkness, burrowing like a mole. So conscience, is it maybe that you become aware of the real world and you start to turn to the dark path? You start to sell yourself out, become a corporate sellout, I don't know. Not in Keats' time probably, but just in general, conscious awareness of one's own sins, realizing that you have not lived a good life, starting to worry, starting to fear when you should be trusting in God. I mean, conscience can be taken in so many different ways here. Conscience can also be awareness of the things you've said. And I always think of this as being kind people who overthink. They think like, oh, what must they think of me? But the people who don't think of you would never have overthought in the first place, if that makes sense. So conscience, when you become conscious of your actions, in other words, that's when you start overthinking, because you want to say, am I being a good person? Am I behaving in a way that's correct? And so once you've like lost yourself to this rhythm, then it's of course very easy to not fall asleep and to just spend the whole night thinking and cycling back to what you said, and could I have phrased it better, and what if they misinterpreted me? So it's curious conscience, we're attracted to it. We want to become more aware, we want want to become better people, but at the same time, when you start overthinking, that's it. It's a vicious cycle. You can't go back. It still lowers the strength for darkness. So maybe is it still a bad thing burrowing like a mole? Like a mole, like those animals that go underground and build tunnels. So it comes deep inside us and you can't exactly get it out. So please sleep. Save me from this and turn the key deftly in the oiled wards, deftly, skillfully turn the key, lock me away in my casket, the casket of my soul. So lock my soul away in this oiled ward. Oiled suggests that this has sort of been done before, or that he's maybe ready for the key to turn. So please sleep, come and close my soul, because if my soul is closed, that means I can't think because I'm out of consciousness and I'm in the dark, and so I can't suffer this curious consciousness that's burying deep inside me with its darkness. So please seal it, close me off from the outside world, force me to be asleep, and all will be well, because I will be separated from the daily life that has caused me so much trouble. And that's it. So To Sleep is a very fascinating poem, a very straightforward one, I think, but one that is rich with imagery, rich also in its structure with the indents. In midst of this thine hymn, it's quite literally in the middle, there's an indent, there's a pause around my bed, suggesting that there's space for sleep to come in. That's also indented. Save me from curious conscience. Maybe again a space when he takes a deep breath because he's almost scared to utter curious conscience. So there's a lot here in terms of the interplay of structure and imagery, and I hope that this analysis helped and you found this interesting. And to all insomniacs who are watching this, I hope that today at least you will manage to get a good night's sleep. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.